Welcome to the Trash Beer Podcast, the only society and culture show where three dudes get drunk and discuss the latest in current events, dating, and politics. I'm Bender, your host, joined by Skuz, your co-host,
Yo.
and Rick, your audio engineer.
What up, what up?
Gentlemen, what are we drinking tonight?
We're looking at a long neck Corona Extra that I found in the back of the fridge.
Hitting some American classic Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Good choices, good choices. I couldn't find any trashy beer in my establishment, so what I did is I took some Dogfish Head Sequence Ale. I left them outside so they get really warm, pond scummy. So I'm going to be drinking these warm Sequence Ales. But before we start, just for our listeners, we are a podcast where we're going to get progressively more drunk, speak about the topics that matter to you today in all facets of life. And I have to get something off my chest to my fellow podcast members. I owe my parents an apology. Ever since I was a kid, they would always tell me, you know, people are going to be offering you drugs. People are going to want to give you drugs. Always say no. And I thought they were retards because never once was I offered drugs for free. There was always a price. But in the last month, I've been offered crack, mushrooms, whole bunch of shit from people that I trusted in my community. My vape merchant, the one man I come to for advice. I go in, just me and him, just talking, just chilling. He's like, "You ever done mushrooms, man?" I'm like, "Nah, not me. I'm a good Catholic boy." He said, "Oh, well, I got these mushrooms, man, and you could take them. I'm just giving them away." I was like, "Nah, I'm all right." Come back a couple weeks later. He's like, "Hey, man, you ever smoke crack?" I was like, "No, I don't think I have." He's like, "Well, I know a guy. So if you ever want to get some crack, just let me know."
And you took him up on this offer, of course, right?
No, for any federal agents listening, because I know he's one of them. No, I never took him up, and I haven't seen him since. This was 2 weeks ago. He offered me crack. He actually offered it to me twice, and every time I've been in there, it's been a different guy.
He's clearly friendly.
I mean, it's got to be a plant, right? Like, there's no way this isn't some type of sting op, right?
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he got pulled back to Quantico. His numbers were down. He wasn't getting big busts. I think he was too direct with trying to get people to get his crack.
You think they bust him back to Arlington?
Yeah, they sent him back to
in fucking Virginia.
They sent him back to the
He's too
FBI
forward.
Academy. They were like, "You need to." But this is really bad for my schizophrenia because I have a neighbor, and my neighbor, I've only met her twice. Nice woman, I guess. She's like, "Hey, I'm moving, and I don't want to take all these drugs on a plane because I don't want to get in trouble. Do you want them?" And I was like, "No, I'm all right. I've only met you. This would be our second time meeting, and you're offering me drugs. So I think I'm going to pass."
have you considered that maybe you I mean this with all kindness and due respect and etc. and so forth. Are you sure you just don't look like a druggie, like a
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. I mean, are you sure you're not presenting as somebody who could use some crack?
In my younger years, I definitely looked emaciated. Now I look like, a 16th century Austrian king. I got some stock of reserves. So I don't think I give off the crackhead vibes. Maybe it's all the holes in my shoes. I'm not sure.
Well, that would definitely be a fucking start.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I just needed to get that off my chest. This whole time, I thought my parents were out of touch, and what I didn't realize is it just, people don't offer you drugs till you're in your 30s. So
that's how they get you. It's a sneak from behind, That's because it's classic.
Yeah, they sneak from behind. But did you guys run into any crazy things recently?
The only thing I can admit about my vape merchant is that I dabble a little in Russian, and everybody around here speaks Russian and I'm too afraid of this guy to like try it. I don't want to like offend him and then have like a really awkward situation with my vape merchant. I've gotten our interaction down to 2 words: Lemonhead. That's it. No hi, how are you? Like, and I know he speaks it, and I want to converse with him in our native tongue, but I'm afraid I'm gonna kind of push the boundary a little too far. Yours is fucking wide open and friendly.
You're like the
apparently.
only guy, dude. There's only ever one guy, and it's always been him for like 2 years. Suddenly disappears after like offering me crack twice. It's not good.
Yeah, man, I don't have any crazy vape stories either. Really, my vape merchants they're Indian immigrants, and like they're very nice, but it's like all strictly business. You know, you go in, you wait like 10 minutes because they're busy up the drive-through, and then you get your geek bar or whatever.
Get
Geeked up.
Yeah, man. No.
So what have you been reading recently, Bender? What have you been?
That's what
up
I was
to?
gonna just segue actually very, very cleanly, very smoothly into something that I was reading, because I think there's nothing better, right? After talking about your vape merchant, than discussing love. I think it's the one human emotion that connects us all. And I think to the listeners of this show, many of which are probably men, maybe some women, you know, love is a very important topic. So I just want to briefly mention a story that I found about a woman, 25 female, who finds out that her partner, 28 male, is a Trump supporter, and she cannot respect him. What is your initial thoughts based off of what the title of this submission is?
I mean, it's always gonna be here we fucking go.
Here we fucking go. Why, you don't think women
Yeah,
can not respect people who are trying to steal their ovaries? Is that what you're trying to say?
Listen, how long have these people been together for? And suddenly one vote starts to shatter the reality of this person, right? Like, oh my god, no, you know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking guy.
They've been together for 4 years, but they've noticed something in the last 2 years. It's just to give you an idea. But Rick, I feel like you had a spicy opinion ready at the starboard.
Not as spicy. I was just gonna say I need more context, right? Because if he's just like a normal kind of guy, and he just voted that way, that's one thing. But if he's like one of those QAnon, like totally crazy, you know, conspiracy flat earther types, then that's a whole different ball game.
You mean to say patriot?
Well, let me give you some context, and we can go into there. We'll see if she is a heartless harpy or someone that is trying to respect the rule of law and is rejecting extremism in all facets. So they've been together for 4 years. Last 2 years, she started noticing a change. They met in graduate school for public policy, so they're very much political wonks, bit of nerds, okay? And it was an opposite attracts situation. She always knew that they had different political views. I would hope so anyway. If you're discussing public policy with your public policy graduate boyfriend for 4 years, you'd probably figure out their political opinions. But here's the kicker. He lied and said that he voted for Trump after Election Day.
Voted for Trump after Election Day.
Like, he voted, but he did not tell his partner until after Election Day, breaking their trust after nearly 3.5 years of multiple discussions at length of why Trump is evil.
If this guy can't even be like upfront about who he votes for, then like there's already a problem with this relationship.
Yeah, that's my...
If you're gonna do that, why even say anything? Just don't say anything. It's easy to just not say anything.
Yeah, right? Just nod your head. Like, you clearly don't want to talk to your partner.
Yeah, that's a really confusing part to me. She must have something that he really wants, whether it's income or looks or something, because to me, that's the simplest thing, right? You are told to do something you don't want to do for your partner. You either suck it up and do it, or if it's the harmless thing, You know, you just lie. You say you did it. Don't rock the boat.
Well, you said they met in college, right?
In graduate school, yeah.
Well, this could be the total thing, right? Like, guy, you know, when he's in graduate school, he's liberal, living life, you know, fucking bounce around. And as soon as he starts getting a lick of real money, he starts to go down the right side, you know, like the right aisle. And that could be fucking textbook, you know? And so I don't even know how she's acting like this is so out of left field, and how this could be, you know,
I want to
such
push
a
back on
blind
that a
sight.
little bit, because she said
Like,
that she knew they were politically different. She had like an opposites attract kind of thing. But she's saying in the last 2 years, he's been sending more like alt-right podcast and memes to her, alt-right podcast and content creators, and then lied about voting for Trump.
but what is this in context? Like, is she saying that he sent her like a Joe Rogan clip, and like that was like the oh my god I knew, like, you know,
I don't know.
like
That's the thing, right? It
I-
could be what, you know, an MSNBC person thinks is alt-right, right? Which would be Joe Rogan or something like that. Or it could be something that's actually depraved. Like, he's 28, so there's a chance that he knows of, like, you know, what we would in online situations call alt-right, whether or not they are, like the Quartering or Ethan Ralph or something like that. You know, that context isn't given to us. But if they're fucking nerds that went to graduate school, then it's probably MSNBC kind of alt-right. So Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, something like that.
Theo Vaughn.
I'm just
That is
saying,
a
man.
vicious take. I'll never understand people who think Theo Vaughn is like an alt-right guy. Like, the guy is so middle of the road and really apolitical from my understanding of him.
I saw that he did an episode with Candace Owens, and he would look at the Wikipedia page of people to see if they were Jewish.
Wow.
That's pretty nuts. Just live, just being like, just checking their Wikipedia real quick to see if they're.
Yeah, but compare that to the guy, you know, like the classic copy pasta, the dude who's like, he joins like a Discord server and he's like, here's a list of every senator that is Jewish, and it's like pages and pages.
Well, that's the thing, right? You have a country of 330 million people, and it's a spectrum of political beliefs for all 330, right? There's, you know, your left and your right all the way across from communism to fascism. You have to decide in this society where you're going to draw the line. And it feels like for 4 years, you put up with it for whatever reason. And now voting for Trump, which is something half of the voting population did, right? That voted, the people that actually voted, a little more than 50% voted for Trump. Like, why is that the breaking point? Why isn't it like the alt-right memes in your mind? Why wasn't it all the conversations for 4 years leading up to this? Why was it the Trump vote? Like, Trump's been up for 3 elections, right? Like, yeah, you've only been dating for 4 years, but who did he vote for 4 years ago?
Well, did they say that he was sending that stuff before he voted or after?
In the last 2 years. So 2 years, he started noticing like a pickup in the alt-right. So, you know, 4 years, even if he's just a regular conservative, you're like, oh, all right, I'll deal with it, whatever. 2 years, you're seeing this stuff coming up at a clip. Like, you know.
Well, I guess I also got to know, like, what is this guy's, like, is he cool with Trump now, or is he voted for Trump and then regretted it, you know? Because if she's giving him so much shit and is so doubtful, and this guy's sitting here like, oh, I can't believe all the tariffs are terrible and all that, like that's shooting from the fucking hip. Like, she didn't aim, you know?
So what's your prescription, Skuz? You telling her to dump him, try to reconcile, maybe re-educate him?
No, I'm telling her to fucking grow up, you know? Like, how many people are in a relationship where they fundamentally disagree politically with their significant other? I could say, I've been in that situation. It's normal. Like, just don't talk about politics. You'll be fine. Not every relationship has to be, you know, like the fucking Bill and Hillary show, you know?
Rick, what are your thoughts?
So I'm thinking, with how hesitant it seems he was to just tell her who he voted for, it seems like he might have been kind of hiding his power level a bit throughout the years. That's just off the, like, off my instincts. Kind of seems he might have been hiding his power level.
The power
And
level.
if that's too much of a breach of trust, she's got to make that decision.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's a lot of problems with the dating market right now, but essentially it's a market, and when you have someone you think it's a fundamental incompatibility, you got to cut. But realistically, you're going to have a lot of problems if you are seeing so much incompatibilities. Like, you can't cut and run forever. At some point, you have to settle down, and the older you get, more of your options kind of thin out as people find their person and get settled down in life. She's 25, so there's plenty of opportunities to move on. But to me, yeah, I've dated people that are politically incompatible. We didn't break up over that, but maybe we did. We broke up for other reasons, but maybe politics changes your lens and view on the world. But I think
I don't know if this is like I don't want to say this is like I hate my boyfriend, let me find a reason to dump him. But it's like, this is something that, like, if this person doesn't end up being, the one they choose for the rest of their lives, they gotta grow the fuck up. Like, they're never gonna find somebody who's 100% in line with them politically, because they're gonna hate them for something else if it is the case, Like, it's just a fucking election. There will be one in 4 years. Relax,
allegedly.
And he's gonna vote for Trump again.
Now he's gonna do it fair and square. He's gonna elect JD Vance, and then on January 21st he'll step down.
Speaking of love, I think we should talk about a more taboo, not love subject. Little darker, little more twisty and windy in what this means. But another Florida teacher. A lot of Florida teachers, man, are getting caught having sex with their minor students. What's going on with that? Why is there always women teachers, and why is it always from Florida? They're like banging their students.
I think you might be skewed to hear those stories. I'm sure you can find plenty of coaches and shit, doing it the other way.
So the thing with Florida, right, is they have very transparent rules for when somebody gets arrested for something. So that's why you see all these articles about Florida. The records go up fast, so they're overrepresented in the media. That makes sense.
That's a Florida man situation, right? Why Florida man got so big?
Yeah. That's why there's so many Florida. I mean, Florida men are just insane.
Yeah,
that's
why crazy.
You see so
I guess you want to get a.
It ruins the illusion.
No. I was just. I guess you don't see. How many people are there in the Ohio River Valley that are doing crazy stuff, like taking bath salts, eating people's faces, having sex with their students?
Well, that's because they're trying to fly under the radar to collect as much copper as they can. Shane Gillis, he said, people with addictions and stuff, they go on like side quests. They got to find a way to make the next $150. So Florida's run out of copper, essentially, in my head. These people have run out of copper and must now find other ways to complete their side quests. And that's how you get guys wrestling alligators.
So you have it good in Florida, though, right? Like, bar the hurricanes, like, the weather is nice. They're going to get rid of property taxes. So, like, you're not going to have to pay more to own your home. Like, you have it pretty good. You have the fucking chorizo sausage sizzly at Wawa. Beautiful thing. It's like the only sizzly in the world that's wet. It's got some, really wetness on it. And I like that. Sizzlies are very dry.
You had that like 2 years ago. You won't let it go.
He's onto something here, though. I agree with him. Sizzlies are
They're
very
very dry.
very dry.
The
a
only
lot of
time
the
they're
time.
ever wet is when just the steam of them inside the box, the condensation, just
Right.
soaks the bread.
Or when they don't cook the fake egg enough, then it's a little sloppy.
Well, I was gonna say, if you ever nuked like a Sizzly like the day after, or you ever bought like a second one for
yeah.
like the next day and try to nuke them, that thing becomes a
Yeah,
fucking blend. Like
it really
it's almost
does like
a blender.
lose any solid form, just slowly melts. But I want to circle back to this because to me, with this teacher, right, she's just so brazen. She has an 8-month affair with this kid, 16, she's 27, and she has sex with him like the day she gets arrested. Like she doesn't even know it's coming. She has sex with the kid in school and then gets arrested later that day. Like, it is. Yeah, it's absurd to me that
Yeah, like slut alert. Hello.
people can just be teachers. I feel like teachers should be like cops, right? In the sense that there is an inherent risk or investment opportunity you don't want to lose. In the cops, it's their own personal safety. In the teachers, it's the future of America, therefore tax revenue. Okay, so they can fund your Social Security, your Medicare, your Medicaid, all that good shit. You want people who will pay taxes. They should be compensated for that. And to be compensated for that, you have to have a series of certifications, checks. She didn't have a background check that showed any kind of sexual tendency, but like, let's get a psych eval in there. You know what I'm saying? I think cops and teachers should be paid a lot more, but they should be held to like a very high standard. I think this woman should get the book thrown at her. I think she should be in jail for the rest of her life. I think just as there's more responsibility, you should get more compensation, but the fall should be that much harder. You should be buried 6 feet under and never allowed to do anything again. But that's just me, man.
Do you know what her financials were? I think this is just a case like this is not like a new thing that's like popping up, right? Like I'm sure the tale is as old as time, right? You have the fucking teenager that gets a little too close to their teacher, and now the teacher's pushing a stroller in 9 months. Like it's a thing. I don't know if you can change it by making everybody go to a class, and I don't think it's compensation. I mean, it's not good. I'm not arguing. Whatever. It's nature. Haha. But like, what do you like? I don't think you're gonna be able to solve this thing. I think it's just like a part of the. I don't want to say part of the experience.
No, I think you can. I think you can carrot and stick
like,
this, and that's why I talk about like cops and teachers should be paid more, but at the same time they should be buried underneath the jail if they get caught with misconduct. Like you got to carrot and stick it, and like everyone's got urges. Everyone's got urges. I remember my 8th grade health class teacher, hot as hell, biggest rack I've ever seen. But, the teachers should be smart enough. I never did this because I was a pussy. But, like, if I ever approached my 8th grade health class teacher, she should have been like, no, dude, get the fuck away from me. Like, back up. The fact that this teacher couldn't do it, didn't have the mental fortitude, for whatever reason, it's just a sign, man. He was,
was he 17?
He was 16 into 17. She was 27. So, but Florida, I think, is 18 age of consent anyway, even if they weren't student teacher.
18 everywhere.
So, I don't even know what Japan
like
is. What is that? Is it like 12?
It's probably like 14 if I had to take a guess.
Dude, France,
Yeah, it's like that. It's like
Spain
that
and Italy and
ballpark.
shit like that. Their age of consent's like 13 or something. I'm like, that's fucking nuts. Yeah, dude, look up France age of
No.
consent for and hope it doesn't trigger any flags. Yeah, on your ISP.
Yeah, don't forget the VPN.
Windows Defender, they'll fail me now.
See, I was thinking one thing maybe you could do, kind of to go on Bender's thing of kind of trying to reduce it, is what if you made the time they had to spend in college a little bit longer, so that the prospect of even looking at
That
like, a
is
student
true.
like
You
that's
could
a little
be.
bit less. You know what I mean?
Still don't think
Because
that's
she is
gonna solve the
relatively
problem.
young. She's only been a teacher for 4 years. So when she started, she was like, what would she
Yeah,
have been?
some
Like
people. I think in
24 or
Florida
something?
too, you don't even need a degree. You could just be. You could have had military service, to get around that. So like, depending on how long your contract was, or if you had a degree, like you could be a teacher at 22. You know what I mean? Like you could be.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like maybe making it so that like they can't get into there on their own. Like maybe they can be like an assistant or something, but like not on their own until like 30. That might
Yeah, it's a
solve
good.
some things.
I'm gonna put you in front of DeSantis's board of education. I have an in with him.
Does
He
that still
probably
exist?
slashed.
Did he not slash that already?
Hey, some guys under,
For being woke?
you know, like under a bridge, you know, crack horse, where my neighbor
It's like
sent me
one
to a
librarian
bunch of
just sitting in
librarians
like an
on
empty
crack,
room.
and
I think we got to go all the way to the top, right? We have to go right to Linda McMahon before she dissolves the Department of Education federally, and have them make the decision. You know what I mean?
How is she managing both her husband going down in flames and the Department of Education and dismantling the Department of Education?
I'm
at the
pretty
same
sure she
time?
hasn't talked to Vince in at least 15 years.
Yeah, they
yeah, you gotta be
probably don't live
crazy.
together, right?
Like he's
At this
like
point,
No, they are.
people doing scat play
They
and
have
shit
been.
behind your back. There's no fucking
They
shot, dude. No amount of money makes that okay.
they have been officially separated. Sorry for talking over you, Bender. They have been officially separated for at least 10 years. Not like
did
divorced,
know
just
that.
separated.
Well, my thing is like when you get to like the McMahons and like the Clintons in terms of like prestige and you know just like overall power, like you lose everything trying to separate from somebody, right? Like obviously McMahon like had all the fucking money from WWF and all that. Like I always think of like fucking how much shit it took for Bill and Linda
Yep.
to fucking separate, and now he's going on like this whole
Yeah,
everybody
but
has to
it's
eat
mutually
bugs
assured
bullshit.
destruction, right? Like even Bezos, dude, in you know very recent kind of marriage in the grand scheme of things compared to the Clintons or the McMahons, like he got fucking. He's still like one of the richest guys in the world, but he got fucking swept, dude. Like his wife became a billionaire, his ex-wife. It's like you know you think those guys back then when they were, you know, moderately successful, but not where they were in the '90s or something like that. Like they probably didn't have a prenup that was that crazy. Like those people are probably better off separated and then like fucking their harem of underemployed like gig workers than you know than divorcing. It's probably my guess.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard much from DeSantis since you know Meatball Ron like last year.
Dude, Meatball Ron. Oh, it was so fucking good, dude. The one thing about Trump, man, he will be forever the funniest president. Like,
Yeah, unironically, like once he steps out, I hope to God he helps like other like campaigns write insults for other people because you can't beat Meatball Ron and the high heels. Like, how about trashing a pretty well-regarded politician in like 3 months? Like,
I'm just praying. You got to pray that like the Baron has picked up just a little bit of that funniness, because the rest of his kids are nowhere
yeah,
close
dude, fucking
to
Don
Trump's skill
Jr.
level.
Maybe Eric's a fucking
Baron's-
lost cause. Like he's fucking lost, bro.
The only thing I ever
think-
see Don Jr. do is just complain about like people coming after his family. Like I get it, but it's also like say something else sometime.
Eric Jr. will only be known to me as the one they sent to like Greenland like every 4 or 5 months to be like, why why do you still want it? Why are you resisting? You know, like he goes there for like a day. He like talks about how great it would be to be under the American flag, and then leaves. And then everybody just makes fun of him on Twitter. Like Eric will always be like the dead stop for that family. But I think Baron, I don't know if Baron's gonna be as sly and as slick as his dad, but he might pick up some of it.
Yeah, he'll have his own spin on it, but you know, we always need someone funny in the public eye. Like comedians haven't been.
Dude,
cutting
I
it
swear to
recently,
God,
in my
man,
opinion.
I'm tired of. Like, I was tired of this at the beginning, but it's gotten so much worse that everyone's kind of taken the Bill Burr, like, you're trying to cancel me thing. Yeah, like, and then they've taken it and, like, they've times it by 10 for every fucking, like, these people have to be, like, Socrates, the modern day philosophers. They're not comedians anymore. They are truth tellers. They are soothsayers. And if you think something they say is retarded, it's you're woke, you're a snowflake, you're gay. And in reality, it's just, no, man, I don't think something you just learned about 3 seconds ago from a Google search is really makes you an authority on anything. I just like Bill Burr used to do it, and now everyone
Not
fucking
even
does
Google
it.
anymore. These guys, they're using fucking Chat GPT at this point. Not even Chat GPT. They're probably using like Gemini or something.
Yeah,
like,
they're using not even Gemini. They're using Bard. Like,
oh God.
No, my favorite thing about, because you're right, like the whole Bill Burr, like I think Bill Burr is an archetype that I think a lot of comedians get into when their comedy doesn't stick, where they're like, oh, nobody will listen to me and take me seriously because I'm so edgy. And then once they finally like start getting the bag, and then the Netflix special comes, 2 or 3 specials in, they change from that to being woke. Like Bill Burr did it. I guarantee you Shane Gillis is gonna do it. He's gonna get tired of doing the Trump bit, and he's just gonna start being like, why can't white guys just talk about their feelings?
I think the bigger
Like,
issue is, like, I just think back to, like, Colin Kaepernick in the NFL. He takes a knee for Black Lives Matter, and everyone's just like, he's a football man. He's a footballer. He should stick to football. Like, comedians, your job is to make me laugh. And, like, yeah, that pulls stuff from the real world. But, like, if you're not making me laugh, you're not doing your job. Don't accuse me of being woke or gay when your set is just fucking retarded. Like, that's all it is. Like, your set of saying, I'm so offensive, LOL, XD, is not fucking funny. Your joke wasn't that offensive. It was just bad. Like, it wasn't.
But you are woke and gay.
I'm woke and bi for Biden. Bye for Biden, everybody.
How does it feel, dude, to get out of the blender, the 4-year Biden blender? You
I'm
must
gonna
feel
say it
so
right now,
lost
man.
in this new world.
In 40 fucking years, after the India, Pakistan, and Israel, Gaza fucking nuclear holocaust takes us all out, an alien race is going to come down. They're going to find my podcast clip of me saying, yeah, Biden was pretty cool. And, they're going to be, I'm going to be remembered throughout the cosmos as a Biden supporter, riding with Biden.
Yes, the moron.
As a truth teller and as a
modern day philosopher. Expert. I don't know, man. I just think the problem is, right, that
woke.
I saw this picture of Trump just repainting a sign that said, this bridge was built by Donald Trump through the Investment and Jobs Infrastructure Act. I'm like, that was Biden's act. He passed it. Trump hasn't passed anything. Literally nothing. Everything up until now, May 31st, 2025, has been a fucking executive order or something about banning deepfake porn, which, let's be honest, man, we could all use some more of that. So I think that was a bad move. So, up until now, he hasn't done anything, hasn't legislated anything. Shitty dog shit president. But I know there's people.
Lake and Riley act there, buddy.
Yeah, say her name or whatever. Say her name. I'm not saying her name, bro.
Come on, buddy, say it.
Say
You
her
can
name.
do it. Say her name. Lincoln
Listen, man.
Riley.
You know, if I ever get stabbed under a bridge for buying crack, I want there to be the Bender Crack Act,
You won't.
okay? And I want you to say my fucking name every time you're purchasing crack. We need to regulate crack sales. My neighbor sent me under this bridge. I died tragically.
Bender, I gotta be honest. You're the only one out of the three of us who's gonna be purchasing crack, dude. Like, clearly you fit the bill.
You know,
That's why they keep trying to
sales.
peddle it on
My
you.
neighbors and vape merchants need to stop trying to sell me crack.
Unless it's legally and tax payable via the IRS.
That's true. That
You gotta
and
go to Oregon for that. Does Oregon still do not everything's uncriminalized?
Oregon, really?
Yeah, probably.
Oregon's
Sounds
more,
like them.
in their
Yeah, they did
their
that
state
during
though is a lot
2020.
more like Republican than you think. It's just in presidential elections they tend to vote blue because just how big the cities are. But like a lot of those districts out there are all rural. They're all like Trump land.
Yeah, no, I love how like the 21st century is like the century of states trying to like, because Maryland, right? They're trying to split Maryland and give like the western half to West Virginia because they're like more culturally like closer than like, you know, like the east side of like Baltimore. And the Oregon's trying to do the same thing where like the western half, like the drier bit, the mountain bit, is trying to join Idaho to make Mega Idaho, which if they do that, I want the name changed to Mega Idaho. Or Greater Idaho or some bullshit like that. Like you
The
can't
Greater
make, like,
Idaho
a mega state
Caliphate.
like that.
You want like a caliphate in the Midwest, dude?
They call it like the Potato Fate.
But this brings up a good point here. I think we need to talk about the CIA, bro.
Wait, Bender. Before we talk about the CIA, I think we need a drink check. How many
That is true.
beers you guys in?
I think
I am at my fourth beer. 4 warm sea quench ales. They taste absolutely foul. I'm like drinking pond scum.
You know you can throw them in the back of the fridge, right?
No, dude, they gotta
That's
be.
not the point though. The point is that they're swampy.
Yeah, they got a little twang to them. Little Louisiana.
Trust me, mine are just as swampy.
Yeah.
Like, but at least
Yours
they're
are
cold.
swampy because they're aged. You have like a pit, like far off into the woods that you just throw like a 30 rack in there, like a squirrel, and you forget where it is, and then you know you're just out in the woods like walking your dog, and then you find this fucking hole in the ground with like 12 Corona 30 racks in there, and you're like,
Hey, don't knock it if it works.
wedding
man.
wine
Remember
is-
the wedding wine?
stuff was disgusting, bro. But Rick, where you at? Where you
It
at?
still works.
I just cracked my third PBR. The second one was warm, so that was pretty mid, but this one is nice and cold. So I think that means we are now all sufficiently drunk enough to discuss the CIA.
Perfect. I do have a problem where if someone follows me in traffic for more than like a block, I think they are like an actual like CIA agent or like undercover sheriff's county officer coming to arrest me, bring me in for my crimes. So I'll have a very neutral, unbiased take on what the CIA is doing here. But yeah, let's talk about Star Wars Gaming.net or whatever the fuck it was called. Star Wars Web.
Is this like a ping pong pizza?
What are you saying?
Is this like a ping pong pizzeria? You know, like the
No,
pizza
this
thing?
actually happened. This is real.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Were you doing a Pizzagate
Sure,
thing?
buddy.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, Pizzagate, ping pong pizzeria, Galactic Pizzeria or whatever.
Dude, I gotta look more into that kind of stuff, man. I like hear these conspiracies and I'm like, obviously this is untrue, but I feel like half of the battle is knowing the weird intricacies of the conspiracy so that you can like cut it off. Like if I say like Pizzagate's not real, and someone's like, "Well, name the pizza parlor," I'm gonna be like, "Ah, fuck, I don't even know." Because if I knew the pizzeria, I could get their hours of operation.
So well, no, you can't. This place has been closed since it got raided. But Ping Pong Pizza, Pizzagate, right? Like, it's one of those, like, yeah, I don't know how willing I am to like believe it, but it's one of those like conspiracy theories. You get like the gold standard like YouTube algorithm video when you're like just kind of surfing and you give it a watch. This dude Flesh Simulator did a really fucking interesting video on it, and it's like it's just like wild enough and catty to be like, what the fuck? Like you can't put it down, but it's also like outlandish enough where it's like if you guys are like, yeah, that's total like malarkey. I wouldn't argue with you.
I don't know, Rick. What do you know about Pizzagate? I know we're off topic, but I'm curious.
I don't know a whole ton. All I do know is that's a conspiracy theory. This is a actual confirmed conspiracy with the CIA website thing.
That's true.
Right, this is real. This is real news, real facts you can hate the CIA for. Maybe not hate, but it's very... They did not... This was not a great operation for them. So basically, the CIA operated a network, right, of gaming sites and a Star Wars fan page that were part of a kind of intelligence network that was compromised. So these were public-facing websites back in, I believe the earliest archive we have is December 2010. And they were just kind of relatively normal-looking websites, right? Like, so it was like a Star Wars fan page. It had like a picture of a kid with a lightsaber. So may the Force be with you on top, linking to various resources, like Yoda, Star Wars Battlefront 2, all that kind of stuff. If you try to go to this website today, it redirects you to the CIA's homepage. So safe to say it's confirmed that this was the CIA.
What was their goal here? Was this are we talking about like gay ops, or were they getting involved in our most oppressed class, the gamers, or was there something deeper?
So allegedly these were to communicate covertly to CIA agents kind of around the world. To like their assets abroad. Now they were first discovered by Iranian authorities, and it is believed by the reporters that the killings of several CIA sources in China are linked to the Iranians kind of discovering this and sharing this information around.
It's kind of crazy. I'm kind of imagining like two dudes chatting, and one guy's like, Mace Windu was the best Jedi. That's like your MK Ultra code to go like slaughter like a bunch of Somalians or something, just like bombing them off the coast. Just like, oh no, I love Glup Shitto actually. And it's like, all right, we're gonna.
I just imagine like the MK Ultra like activation code being like more power.
Like to me, it's got to be confusing, right? Like I'm not gonna pretend to be like the CIA OPSEC kind of guy, but like if you are unable to get like a phone or like a secure access token or something to communicate with your handlers some way, you can't even use a fucking payphone, like you're probably already under a lot of suspicion, man. And they'll go to like the same website and be posting like, oh, Lego Star Wars, I really like the new character skin of Aladdin. Like, someone's eventually going to figure this shit out, bro. Like, I have a hard time believing like this was a good plan. How much were these agents paid to participate? Does this even give you meaning in life? Like, you're like, oh, I finally get to go kill some brown people, and you actually have to sit on the Star Wars Web.net forums. I have a lot of questions, but Skuz, I want to kind of get your thoughts.
Well, so I just want to backtrack. So there was actual like when this site got discovered, right? Like there were repercussions. Did somebody got caught, or what exactly happened again?
So it's believed that the uncovering of this website network
Yeah.
was primarily responsible for the killing of some CIA operatives in China back in the 2010s.
All right. So, my main take is just how embarrassed I am for those guys. Like, imagine you're a professional glowy. You've wanted to be a glowy your entire life, and the reason you get fucking marked and killed is because of a fucking Star Wars fan website. Like these guys join the CIA like thinking it's gonna be like the '60s, and they're gonna be down in Nicaragua having a fucking rum and coke before they go assassinate like a a commie block leader, and instead they're sitting in fucking Taiwan or wherever, China, fucking tweet like arguing on a forum about if Mace Windu's what kyber crystal Mace Windu is using before they get XCOM by a Chinese operative. Like that's gotta suck. Like
I also want to point out that part of the way that they found out that these were all connected websites, right, was so they found the one. I think the first one they allegedly found was the Star Wars one, right? And then all of the other websites they had, because it was a couple. There's a list here. Let me see if I can find this again. I'll see, but one of them was like Gamer Heaven and like all kinds of stuff like that. Gamers with a Z, that kind of thing. All of the IP addresses for the websites were sequential. So when they were trying to find them, they just had to backspace one and put in the next number. And it was like 20 websites all in a line, like sequential IP address when they were doing the research.
The fuck?
Like, really? They couldn't even scatter the IPs to make it harder to figure out?
That's how you know it was like some guy who's totally like, he's like some dude who beats his wife. He's like, he's coming out of like Vietnam, Vietnam vet, suburban lifestyle, sees his kid playing Fortnite. Even though Fortnite didn't exist back then, I guess he was in a Call of Duty lobby, and he hears like all these people talking on comms, like screaming the N-word, and he's like, you know what? I think this is it. The future is here. And he has like no OPSEC knowledge. He's just like, I see my kid able to talk to like some kid in Mexico. I want to get it done. I want him to boot up a game of Call of Duty and like, let's get this going. I wonder if though, like Lego Star Wars, did those people get a kickback? Did like Nintendo have to, if you bought Lego Star Wars on the Wii, can you attribute some of those sales to the CIA?
Well, no, it's because it's a third-party forum. It has no official affiliation.
Yeah, but they were linking to shit. Like, can you, if you're Nintendo, you're like, man, Lego sales are going down. Wonder if people are stopped visiting StarWarsWeb.net. We're gonna have to launch our own, dude. I don't know.
So my question is like, did this kind of like, egg in the face, like, all right, we got to scrap this program, it clearly doesn't work? Or is there currently 2 CIA operatives right now communicating to each other on a Nintendogs fucking forum? They're the only 2 users. Like, how clear is it that this is like a total op? Like, was this forum seeing like normal foot traffic and it made it super easy, or were there 2 guys getting on every day and writing this really weird cryptic shit? Like, I wish you could see what it looked like.
Yeah, like, unfortunately, the article doesn't really get into the specifics a lot. There is like a Reuters one, but to read through that at this point, it'd be a little much for this episode.
Right now, there's 2 guys on a Sims 2 forum right now.
Well, that's my thoughts here are like
leader.
Today, obviously, forums are very limited, right? Like you obviously have Reddit and 4chan. And then after that, like you maybe have only 1 or 2 very specific like sub forums. Like, you have like One Piece, they have like the worst gen forums or something like that. But essentially you only have like a couple forums today outside of the big conglomerates like Reddit or 4chan to like even have that kind of to have any kind of traffic. So like today, obviously this shit wouldn't work with StarWarsWeb.net. I have no doubt that would not work. But back then, dude, before like the rise of Reddit and social media and shit, the early tens, maybe. You never know, man.
Yeah, because you got to figure there had to have been dozens of Star Wars fan sites and random gamer sites and all this kind of stuff back then. Only a few have survived till today, like 4chan. What's the other one? There's another like gamer one, but it's like for like left wing, like really left leaning people. Like the name's escaping me right now.
They're obviously not doing a good fucking job, dude. I'd be on that. I'd be like, all right, are we doing
Now,
bisexual Animal Crossing today, fellas and folks? What's going on? Do you guys love Joe Biden as much as I do? Yeah. Where's my YouTube video essay on how Tom Nook is a filthy capitalist who needs to be drawn and quartered like the pig that he is, little swine?
It was
25.
It's a 25-hour video.
But yeah, man, no, I think this goes into like, because we don't even know who these assets were, and there is something in the CIA. We saw it most recently with the withdrawal out of Afghanistan, of just abandoning the locals that are willing, for whatever reason, to help the United States succeed, usually because the places that the United States is targeting are actually bad people, fun fact. And there just shows a big disregard that transcends political parties. Like, you have this from the early 2010s. We know what happened after Afghanistan. All those interpreters, translators, people who knew the fucking geography, were just left there to be, killed by the Taliban. It's one of those things that shows that the government's not always on your side. But if that's our government, imagine what the Russian state government, the Chinese state government, the Iranian fucking Supreme Council or whatever shit would do to us if America wasn't top dog. So yeah,
imagine the Penguin Island government. I'm so glad
we strangled them, bro.
Tariffs.
They're economically they're fucked. Those penguins are not getting a single fucking can of sardines, bro. The waste, fraud, and abuse ends here.
We just got to be careful though, because we don't want them to send Skipper after us. From Madagascar. He's some rough business, that guy.
I'll never understand why people bitch about this, because you knew like if they didn't list every fucking island, they would have just any importer would have been like, oh yeah, it's coming from, I don't know, coordinates, longitude, just said, latitude,
that country and its existing territories. Like, it's very obvious it took like the fucking like Olympic list and then also added like uninhabited territories and shit. Like, it's not even using like UN member states. It's even including things that aren't like UN members. Like, that shit's fucking stupid, man. Like, you put in what was it? Was it 50% or was it more or less 34? Doesn't matter. There's no fucking people there. There's no infrastructure there. You can't build a factory on there. They're tiny little rocks in the middle of the fucking Indian Ocean, bro. You can't. What are you going to do? How is any product going to come out of that place ever?
Yeah, but if all it takes is a fucking word loophole and I guess we can't tax it.
No, it just proves that they're using AI slop to generate policy that's not getting approved by Congress. Yes, it is.
It's not.
That's what it is.
This shit, because like, all right. My argument, right, is that like, you ever heard this shit where it's like East Germany still exists in the Caribbean? And like all this shit, like this, it is well known that like these like random fucking islands all over the fucking world that are like aren't populated are like classic loopholes, dude. Like, people would use it, so I don't think it's as like wild as
you can just as easily extend it to its territories, though, bro. Like, the UK got a 10% tariff. I don't know if. UK got a 10% tariff and they already had a trade surplus. And I didn't look through all their fucking relics of their bygone empire, but I bet you if I went through that list, there's probably something somewhere. Falkland Islands, maybe the fucking Isle of Man that's going to say that it has like a 30% tariff. I just know it, bro, because they didn't check this shit. They didn't fact check it. They ran it out. And that's not to mention, that's not the tariffs today. Because Trump, every fucking day, bro, is just changing his fucking mind. I don't know if that's because he has dementia and someone's whispering in his ear and saying, hey, man, you know, actually, these tariffs would be better. And he's like, oh, okay. Yes. Very, very good. Or he's just like he's retarded. I don't know. I don't know if he has dementia or he's retarded, but either way, it's not good policy. It's bad policy.
I just
we
think
brought the Chinese to the table.
The Chinese are not at the table.
Listen,
Scott
listen.
Bassett just said like 2 days ago the trade talks are stalling. They did a 90-day like extension for Trump to save face, and now the fucking Treasury Secretary is like, oh well, our talks are stalling. We need Trump to intervene. Like, Trump is going to intervene how? By imposing tariffs, which means what? Prices are going to go up, less shit's going to come over, China's going to get pissed off, they're not going to want to come to the table. It's just this never-ending cycle of bullshit that we're going to have to deal with for 4 years.
The talks at Versailles stalled. This shit, everything stalls. Nobody fucking bends over.
Do you know how complicated
Like,
a trade
what are you
agreement is,
talking
man?
about?
Like, you got to think about it. Every
You
industry...
know how complicated ending a world war is? Like, this shit's all
Yeah,
complicated.
that's my point. You can't...
It takes time.
It takes time. So when Trump's changing tariffs day to day, you've set the negotiators back. You have no idea what the negotiators are going to do now because you've changed the name of the game unilaterally using ChatGPT. Like, that's what you've done. Anything you wanted outside of like the effects of this being bad trade policy in general, you've just set back. Like, all you've done is caught your negotiator off guard. He's like, oh shit, okay, well, I had a 50% stick.
You just want it to be fucking ChatGPT. You have no argument to say that that's true. And it still doesn't matter. At the end of the day, regardless of what it was at the beginning and at the end of the deal deal is the fucking deal. And they're just riding them. And they're gonna get it. And you hate to fucking see it.
All right, listen,
You hate to
I
see a
actually
W
love
for
America.
I don't
I'm
know
riding
why.
with Biden. I'm riding with Biden, big Biden head.
Sure.
And Biden loves America. We all know this. Longest serving senator ever. Great guy. Kids died on Amtrak.
It's very sick.
Or got hit by a bus or something. Great guy. And I just want to say, like, you have no idea that America has the driver's seat, and what Trump is doing what we're doing right now, drinking. He's drinking at the fucking wheel, bro. And he might not get caught. He might actually get home faster from the bar than he normally would have. But he's being reckless. And he's gonna fucking crash. He might be traveling faster now and he's gonna get home quicker so he can get more hours of sleep, or he's gotta turn in for his work day. But he's gonna crash. He's gonna go straight off the fucking cliff. Because we have the American monetary system that everyone uses. We moved off the gold standard. We moved to an America standard. When Trump does shit like this, he fucks with the dollar. He fucks with the dollar. People want to play with the bond market. Prices are going up for the little people anyway from these Trump tariffs, even if the dollar doesn't totally falter. It's bad. It's just bad policy, bro. We're winning. I don't know why we got to do this crazy thing and negotiate deals. We're already winning.
All I know is the Penguins have been taking advantage of America for too long. They've been getting away with it for too long. So I'm just glad Trump took a hardline stance against these radical.
I don't think penguins can fly, bro. So you're just spreading propaganda. I guess you're the White House press secretary saying penguins can fly. Dude, she's kind of hot, though. She's kind of bad. Yeah, she's hot.
Caroline Levitt or whatever her name is. You got the
How's that a weird take?
Takes,
She's hot.
Hey, speaking of weird takes, let's.
All right, this is going to be our last story for the night. before we get into future stories, as time moves on, as you can tell, I'm a little tipsy, but I think the most important thing we want to talk about is um, we all love Ozempic, don't we, folks? We're moving around. We're gonna do something a little different today. We all love Ozempic here, big Ozempic fans. We have a love story. We're gonna close out on a love story. This woman is 30, and she started Ozempic, but her 32-year-old boyfriend doesn't seem to support it. And what I want to note is that she used to be a really big feller. She had some COVID. COVID scared her life. She gained a lot of weight from that COVID. She was 210 at 5'3". What's that BMI, man? That's got to be a crazy BMI. Is that like a BMI of 40? And don't you just divide the height by the weight or something? You're a big lass, anyway.
Rick, our audio tech, is working very hard on getting that BMI for you there.
That
bud.
calculation, it's probably, I'm going to guess 36. The stats right now?
Sorry, what were the stats?
210 at 5'3". Gotta have the stat.
Sorry, one more time.
210 pounds at 5'3". This sounds like an all-around American person. Do they really need to change?
That doesn't seem that big, but if he drops like a BMI of 48, I'm going to be like, holy shit. That's hard to...
Yeah, like, oh god.
It's hard when they're that short. You don't know. Like...
And so they're going...
That is 37.
Oh,
clinically obese.
That's high.
That is... The calculator says you may fall into this category, obese.
Like 210 for
But
us
maybe.
isn't a big deal because
We
we're
don't
all
know.
relatively tall. But like 210 for 5'3", it's just hard for me to even imagine what 5'3" is. I don't. Yeah,
Because we're all like 8 foot tall here, right? Like we're.
No, I feel like I should pull the curtain a little. This is a group of manlets, so it's not.
You could be a
it's not trying to sell a
but the
story.
rest of us are going to be 7 foot tall Amazon Chad. You know.
Listen, me and the 2 other truth seekers that's gonna listen to this are gonna want the truth.
Dude, the truth secrets are going to start off because I went hard on Biden. Episode 1, that was a bad idea. I should have hit my power level. Should have been like, Trump has some good ideas. Yeah, verse 3. I should have
been like
slowly
that guy from
ratcheted
First
up
Story,
after
man.
4
Come on,
years.
what are you doing?
Audience has like a parasocial relationship, but yeah.
Yeah, he's so much like me.
But yeah, okay.
Before the
BMI
cape
at
gets thrown
37.
down.
She gained a lot of weight during COVID. She used to be fit, but she's taken Ozempic recently, and then she just, found out that she dropped 10 pounds very quickly, without doing anything, she says. And both her boyfriend and her father do not approve of this. So she's trying to get an idea of how to get him to come around to this. And I just want to know your thoughts. So she lost 10 pounds very quickly. I guess she's down to 200, maybe. But where are we going? And then I want to hit you with a fun fact
I don't know how
afterwards, a
these
little
people-
plot twist.
I don't know how these people that have to go on Ozempic, right? Like, if you need to go on Ozempic, like, fuck whatever your partner says. But like, I don't know how they act like it's so like, oh, it's so nonchalant. Like, you ever seen like a person in your life on Ozempic? They look like they're dying. Like their eyes sink in, their like eyes kind of glaze over a little. Like they don't look like healthy. It's like, and then they sit there and they're like, I don't understand. I'm becoming beautiful. What don't you understand? Like, like I don't understand. Like I'll never be able to see the perspective of why they think it's like medically normal, because it's you literally taking a chemical to convince your brain that you no longer need to eat. And it's starving. Like, you are starving in front of the people in front of you, and they have to eat and go on and do their normal life and look at you as if like you're not literally rotting away medicinally. It's a freaky
Yeah,
drug.
I think there's, since we were all kids, we saw the Super Size Me documentary. They hit us with the all-time classic, the Rock and Roll McDonald's. Great song, beautiful song. And just to me, like, I think obesity is becoming less of a problem now because, like, we've all kind of figured it out. Like, prices are going up. They're starting to scale back on the curtain. Food regulation has gotten a lot better, I think, since even the early aughts, not. And also, I like a thick.
Food knowledge is also incredibly better than it
Yeah.
is even in the past 10 years, past 5 years even. Like, people are way
I
more
also like
conscious
a
of the
thick
nutrition
lady.
facts and all that kind of thing.
I mean, maybe not 37 BMI, but I like a. I think most women like thick guys, right? Wasn't there the big dad bod renaissance, recently, and then,
there's a difference between a dad bod and like a thick guy.
Yeah, but
you know
also,
what I mean?
like,
That's two different things, I think. But
there really is like a whole like Leonardo da Vinci like book of the fat guy. Like, there's so many different kind of model of fat guys you can get that I understand that people can be very pick and choose on them.
Even taking BMI out of the equation, because you have muscular guys that are short, your manlit short kings, that have a high BMI just because they have a lot of muscle. I don't know, man. I just think people today, one, are more conscious about their weight, and two, like, also standards are a lot lower. I just feel like standards have kind of fallen through the floor. Just in my, what I'm seeing in the world. And so, to me, like, I don't know if Ozempic is a problem that should be so commercially available as like an elective surgery, basically. Like, I feel like it's very much more like something that you should have, like, this person is on a TLC show and they need this, or they're going to be gone in like 6 months, and we have like 2 more seasons with them. We got to keep them alive. Like, that's just my kind of thing. But do you guys have anything else before I give you the twist?
I'm
But I think like it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's like, if you need it, you need it. But there's a lot of people who don't need it. You know what I mean? A lot of people who are just lazy, and they're just not eating right with all the increase in knowledge. They know the knowledge, they're just ignoring it, right? So it's kind of one of those things. I don't know about this situation, but just in general, like,
Yeah, to me,
some people are just fat asses and they're just going to keep eating. And
like,
I don't know if Ozempic should be the thing to save them.
Like, I think if something exists and it's proved to be healthy, yes, we should use it for our benefit. Like, that's the whole point of technology. That's the whole point of societal advancement. We should be moving forward. We should be doing less work for more output. Like, everyone would like that. Everyone would like a $1 an hour raise and have to do 75% of the work they were doing beforehand. No one would disagree with that. But I think in areas of personal development, having like a get out of jail free card is bad in that it removes personal responsibility. Like, that it's a calories in, calories out kind of situation. And some people make that trade-off. They're like, I don't really care because I actually like the calories coming in more than I care about getting the calories out. Like, I like drinking. I like eating a McDonald's cheeseburger. They're good fucking things. I don't want to eat celery sticks all goddamn day. Like, to me, that's a respectable trade-off. Like, you choose and you kind of live with that. But, like, all of these get out of jail free cards, and maybe next time we'll talk about AI and the school system. Everyone's cheating and getting straight A's. Meanwhile, I was maintaining like my C average. Like, there's part of that is like, I took the C because I didn't study. I was fucking around. And that was a trade-off I made. But like with AI, I could have fucked around and got an A, but been just as unprepared for the real world as if I had my C's. You know what I mean? I would have had the prestige and the fun, but still been just as inexperienced and unable to move forward. Like, these people on Ozempic, are they going to be on Ozempic for the rest of their lives? Is that how this works?
Well, so you gotta understand, a problem with Ozempic is that I don't know if it originally was a diabetes medicine. I know a lot of this medicine now gets prescribed to diabetics because it helps them regulate insulin. The problem with this shit, right, is that for a lot of people, it makes more sense than we're willing to admit. When somebody has an eating disorder and they've had one for years, their brain chemistry around food intake and generally looking at how food will impact them changes. And this Ozempic stuff really does like kind of blast that into orbit and kind of neutralize it and puts them in a better place to really, lose the weight. But like at the same time, if you're taking, painkillers and you're not in pain, like when are you, when is it that, you're gonna get hooked, and you're not gonna act normally without it. I'm not saying people are gonna get addicted, but like they're gonna have it as a crutch, and it's like if I go off Ozempic, I'm gonna get fat again.
Personal responsibility. If Ozempic's the only way that you were able to lose weight successfully, like, what happens when you get off of Ozempic? Because you learned nothing. You took a miracle cure, and I mean that in like actually the most generous and charitable way. Like, so far there's been no proof that it's either fake or hurts you long term yet. But like, if that's all you've had, an actual miracle cure, what happens when you get off? You've learned nothing. You've done the absolute minimum. But this brings into the twist. I want to hit you with the twist because this person actually got a lot of feedback. Normally, you would assume a negative feedback. Normally, you'd assume, oh, this is a woman, girl boss, female empowerment. She actually got a lot of pushback because she admitted to what her routine is. Okay, and here's her routine. She only eats 1,500 calories a day on Ozempic. She only drinks water. And she fasts 36 hours once a week as part of a cleanse. And she does not look in the mirror at all. So she spends a day and a half not eating. She only drinks water. She dropped her calories down. And this is all in combination with Ozempic. And she does not look at herself in the mirror. And the pushback is, well, maybe you have an eating disorder, buddy. Maybe this doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just you have an eating disorder.
That is 100% an eating disorder because first off, if you are able to manage your calories at 1,500, which is below the 2,000 average intake, right? So no matter what, you are going to lose weight at 1,500 if you maintain that. And you're refusing to look at yourself, and you're also fasting for a day now. Yeah, that is a fucking eating disorder. It might not be as prolific as like a full blown anorexia, but like, come on.
Yeah, Rick, what do you?
They shouldn't give this medicine to these people because like you're just fucking up your insulin. Your what do they call it? Insulin receptibility. You know what I'm talking about? How accepting they are of insulin. You're fucking because that's what it does. I can't remember if insulin if like the metformin and and Ozempic are more for type 1 or type 2 diabetics. I think it's more type 2, and it inhibits. I think it's an insulin inhibitor, but it's like you don't want to take this shit unless you can't. You're making too much insulin. Like it's gonna fuck up your system. So I think doctors are also maybe just a little too willing to hand out this miracle drug. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out in a year or two that there's some major kickbacks, for getting as many people as you can to take Ozempic. Like, because we saw this shit with narcotics and opiates, right? So like, how unbelievable could it be that Dr. Joe Schmo, if you get 100 people to sign up for, if you get 10 people on Ozempic on a prescription, like a 6-month prescription of Ozempic, you get an extra $35,000.
I'm glad you said Dr. Joe Schmo and not Dr. Joe Biden. We would have had a problem there. But no, I agree with you in the sense that
you're really trying to ring that.
Opiates were pushed through kind of this doctor shopping model. There was the incentive structure was there, the opportunity was obviously there with people coming in. It makes sense, and most people never suffered any repercussions for selling those drugs. And we're prescribing them, which is a sad thing. But I think that's all we got. I want to just kick it real quick to Rick if he's got any last thoughts, and then I want to add us out of here. Get us out of here.
As a great philosopher once said, "Shoddy be cray cray."
Shoddy be cray cray indeed. Well, thank you to our loyal listeners. This was the Trash Beer Podcast. Again, a show where we get drunk and discuss the latest in current events, dating, and politics. Let's just real quick get a beer total. I had 4 full beers.
I'm on number 3.
I've had 5 absolutely delicious Pabst Blue Ribbons.
And we also pre-gamed 2 or 3 beers before the start of the show just to make sure we were in a good space. But yeah, we are your Trash Beer Podcast team, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Peace.
See ya.